Conquerors family is inviting you to our prophetic services at Woodlands A Secondary School grounds opposite Woodlands Pick and Pay. Join us every Sunday from 09 to 14 hours for our Sunday service and on Wednesdays for our midweek services at 17 hours. Come and receive your prophecy, healing, deliverance and revelation of God's Word. Contact 0978 266 009 or 0969 234 400 or like our Facebook page, Prophet T.L. Kelvin. Join us and receive God's guidance in your life. See you this Sunday.
Praise the Lord. I'll give you a few scriptures. Let's go to the book of Romans. Romans chapter 8, verses 28. And we know that all things work. I want you to get this, And we know that all things work. It continues saying, all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Hallelujah. I'll be sharing with you briefly on a subject that I've captioned, things don't just happen. Things don't just happen. Tell your neighbor, things don't just happen. Tell them things don't just happen. So I'll be giving you the 3 laws of happenings. The world we are living in, ladies and gentlemen, is engineered by different forces. Different things, different forces and different laws. There are many laws that are governing this earth that we are living in. Whatever happens to us does not happen on its own. Whatever is happening in your life, don't take it that it happened by accident. No. Don't take it that it happened on its own. There is something that has engineered it to happen. There is some forces somewhere that push that thing to happen. Whether it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, or it's a neutral thing. It is sponsored by some forces somewhere. Those forces, I'm going to explain to you later about those forces. So, if you were fired at your workplace, your boss didn't just wake up and fire you. There is something that ministered to him that he should fire you. There is something that happened to you that made him to fire you. There is something that transpired somewhere, somehow, that made him to take that decision. If you are moving in the streets, and you dash your foot against a stone and you fell down, there is something that caused that action. Literally everything happens for a reason. The Bible says, for we know that all things work. All things work. The word things there speaks of immaterials. It talks about inanimate objects. It talks about things that do not breathe. It talks about things that can even breathe, but it is not talking about life. It's not talking about human beings. It talks about plants. It talks about air. It talks about wood. It talks about iron. It talks about materials. And he's telling you to say these things are working. How are they working? Together. That means these things are in unity. Wood, iron, water, fire. All these things are in unit. They are working. There's a point where they meet, they agree that they should produce this kind, they should achieve such kind of a goal. So if you are moving and maybe a plank or a log or a wood just fell on you and it hit you, don't think it just happened like that. They were arranging, they worked. They organized that one day we must fall on this person's head. Have you ever seen somebody, he's driving, busy driving, and as he's driving, all of a sudden a tree just fell and hit the car? Why didn't the tree wait for that guy to pass? So that means the tree, the air, the ground, where the ground itself, where the roots are, and the water that is supplying and sustaining that thing, that tree, and the sun that gives it, that forms photosynthesis together, they had to sit down in a meeting and said, let us agree on how we are going to destroy this person. And for us to agree, I, the sun, I'm going to withdraw light from this tree. And me, water, I'm going to withdraw supply from this guy so that he can become weak. And I, the soil, are going to lose grip of this guy. And me, air, I'm going to blow on this tree. And you tree, you must be ready to sacrifice your life for the sake of killing this person. So now when you're passing and you see a tree falling, look at where it has come from. There was the wind that had to come. It was sent by these guys that sat down under a parliament. They had a secret chamber where they sat down, they agreed. And they had to blow the tree and it fell on you. Or it fell on your brother. It fell on your sister. It fell on somebody you know and they died. And they were strategic enough not to waste that tree. It couldn't fall if there was no human being there. They were strategic enough. They had to read your mind. They had to read your program. They knew that around 10 a.m., 10 hours, you were going to pass. And at exactly 9:59, wind started coming. By the time you reached there, wind blew and you were slashed. Things don't just happen. Things happen because of maybe 3 elements or 3 laws or 3 forces that I'm going to give you now. Number 1, spiritual force. Spiritual force. Number 2, human will. Number 3, mental force, the force of the mind. Number 4, natural force. So, all things that are happening around us, all things that are happening around us, all things, get this, huh? All things that are happening around us, they are engineered and they are sponsored by these 4 elements that I've given you. It's either it's a spiritual force, a human will, mental force, or it is a natural force. A spiritual force is in 2 categories. A spiritual force, there's a divine force and there's a wicked force. Divine force and demonic force. The divine force is what makes me to pray for you. You were 500 of you that applied for a job. And all of you are hoping that you are going to get a job. But you, out of maybe your wisdom or your knowledge or your understanding, you decided to come to me that I should pray for you. You don't understand what you are doing. Your friends there are vulnerable because according to them, they are just there. But you, with your wisdom, you have decided to engage an external force, which is a spiritual force. And when you engage a force, you are trying to have an unfair advantage over your friends. So when you come here and I pray for you, say, may your job be given to you. It is an external force that has been engaged, which is a divine force. So when that divine force has been applied, number 1 thing that happened, it goes to your application later. It gives it what we call the anointing of attraction, which I'm going to explain later. So all of a sudden, your letter becomes attractive. There's like as if it's glittering or something. The other thing that it does, it makes your boss or maybe the HR, the human resource manager, it influences him to begin to, so that he should call you. So what happens is that your letter can be down and maybe there are 500 letters, they're heaped up. Your letter is under. The HR will call a guy to go and pick letters on a random base. And that guy, my prayer will affect him. He is not going to pick a letter that is on top. He has to heap them first and put those letters. So that he should get your letter that is under, he should bring it on top. And when he looks, your letter should be glittering. And something will tell him to pick that letter. And that letter happens to be your own. So that guy sometimes, because of not being biased, he might maybe pick 5 letters. Your letter is one of them. So it is taken to the HR. The HR is going to read, put it down, read, put it down. Read, put it down. And something will tell him to go back to that one. Why? Because there's an external force that is manipulating and controlling the HR, that is manipulating that guy that went to get the letter. So as a result, he looks at it. Okay. So if your HR is going to be stubborn enough and he puts it down, he's going to get another letter and try to call that guy. My prayer then will go to that guy's phone and switch it off. So the HR will call and the number will be outside coverage. Or it will just block the network somewhere. Outside coverage. Outside coverage. He's going to get another phone. He calls that letter outside coverage. And the HR is not patient. He's trying to get your letter then. The moment he gets your letter, maybe your phone was low. Maybe that time you were supposed to be chatting with a useless friend for about 1 hour. My prayer will go to that friend and block him from calling you. So that by that period you should be free. If around that time there was supposed to be power out, maybe power out maybe your prayer, your house, there's supposed to be maybe load shedding or something. My prayer has to travel to Zescom to allow them to divert that load shedding to other neighborhood so that you should charge your phone. Or if there's not going to be power in your area, My prayer will take you to your friend where there is power. And as you are chatting, you'll be charging your phone. To make sure that things have been engineered. Are you seeing that all things are working together now? Zesco is in place. The phone is in place. Airtel is in place. All things are working together just for you to get a job. So, if you're going to be called and you pick and you go there and you get a job, you're going to be happy. Not knowing that there was an external force that you engaged. And you had an advantage over your friends because them, they just took a letter there and let it be there. They thought this thing is about lucky. Try your luck. They thought it's about try your luck. They didn't know that they were dealing with another person that is wise. So you with your wisdom. And if you find another person who has got another wisdom. Wisdom is wisdom. Whether it's devilish, it's demonic, it's divine, it's wisdom. You have wisdom, you have come here. Another person has wisdom, they have gone to the witch doctor. Say, I want that job. The witch doctor will release a spell, a luck charm, and it is going to hit that letter. I'll pray, I'll release another grace that will hit that letter. So there'll be two letters that will be fighting there. Your letter and that person's letter. Because all of them, they have got an advantage over their friends. This one has got some substance. It has got a favor on it. This one, it has got a certain force that wants it to be picked. So the HR is confused which one is going to pick. So the battle then is going to be between my prayer and the prayer of the witch doctor. That's why the Bible says, let all powers be subject to the higher power. That is according to Romans chapter 13. These are altars that have met. They have to fight. It's a battle of thrones now. This is what we call the battle of thrones. Where thrones are fighting. Altars are fighting. And if altar is fighting another altar, it is a lesser altar that bows. When power jumps power, lesser power bows. So the one that will be less there, it is the one that is going to bow. It doesn't matter whether you're a man of God. If you're a man of God, you are powerless than a witch doctor. A witch doctor's prayer is going to prevail. Because there are men of God that are powerless than a witch doctor. Because the witch doctors that can see in the spirit, some men of God can't see. Power is power. Whether it's demonic, it's genuine, it's power. If you're a man of God, you don't have a guarantee that you defeat a witch doctor if a witch doctor is powerful than you. If a witch doctor fasts more than you, you have an advantage over you. If he's dedicated to his shrine, that every night he spends time on his altar, and you're not dedicated to your altar, you don't spend time in prayer, that witch doctor is going to overpower you. Are you getting this? The Bible says something like this. You are the light of the world. And he says, but if the light in you be darkness, if the light in you be darkness, then greater is your darkness. So you're the light of the world. Huh? Darkness, it is light that has got an absence of some substances that I'm going to explain later. So he says, if your light be darkness, then greater is your darkness. So you're the light of the world, a city that is set on the hill. And this one is the darkness. But the darkness in him is light. So greater is his darkness. That means he's having the powers of darkness. What it means is this. If the light in you be darkness, the word light means illumination, knowledge, understanding. So the Bible says, if light in you be darkness, so if your understanding is demonic, is the powers of darkness, then greater is your understanding. Whether you're a witch doctor or you're a satanist, as long as you are deep in your satanism, you are powerful than a certain man of God. That is where men of God fail now. That's why a witch doctor will be playing somewhere, cast a spell, a man of God dies. How can a spell kill a man of God? A young girl in Nigeria, she was in Satanism. She went into the church. She reached there, a certain bishop was preaching, busy preaching, and she casted the spell. It hit the bishop died. And when they arrested her, she was confessing, she was scared. He says, no, I didn't want to kill him. I just caught a spell. I wanted just to shock him, to test him. I didn't know that he was going to die. A girl is just trying, the bishop died. Imagine. She was just testing to see how powerful a spell is. Let me just shock him a bit, just to make him jerk. The man died. Some of the people that died, some of you, the sicknesses that you got, witches didn't even mean to make you sick. They just tried to see if the spell is working. But because greater is their darkness, your light in you is not effective. So witch doctors, sometimes they get surprised. This is not even powerful. This is not even the spell. It was just a test that we were making. It's not the main exam. We're just wanting to see if this thing can work. Tell me about things that don't happen. Things don't just happen. Are you following me? So that is a what? Spiritual force. Any human being, mainly most human beings that you see, they have a place that they go to where they submit in order to get a spiritual force. If it is times of elections, Many politicians, they find a place where they should go. It is either they should go to a man of God, you anoint them and give them an advantage over their opponent. Or someone who go to the witch doctor, you'll be there, you'll be given tattoos on their tongue, that when they speak, people should be charmed, people should draw to them, they'll be given something. They go somewhere that they believe. Don't be deceived with suits that you see people wearing. They are deadly inside of them. They have somewhere that they go to. They know that things don't just happen. Can I tell you the truth? No one can ever win an election just like that without a spiritual force. It is a spiritual force that appoints leaders. It is a spiritual force. See, that's demonic or it's genuine. You can't be a president in a country. You can't be an MP of an area. You can't be a councillor anywhere if there is no force that is backing you. They are backed by forces. Not only in Africa, go to America, all these countries that you see, you go to Asia, everywhere, Russia, those places, those guys, they have understood the rules of engagement. They know where to go in order to gain an advantage over their opponents. What did Donald Trump understood? And Donald Trump, what did he understand? He understood that for me to win like this, it's not going to be easier. He had to engage a spiritual force. Tell your neighbor, things don't just happen. Tell them things don't just happen. Tell them they are engineered. They are sponsored. They are orchestrated somewhere. So that is the spiritual force. Number 2, I told you what kind of a force is that? The human will. One of the most powerful advantage or right or privilege that God gave man is the will. The will is very dangerous. Do you know that with your will you can choose to work against God? This is what we call the willpower. The free will power. God allowed you to decide what you want. Have you ever wondered why, after God telling them, do not eat of this fruit, when they were going to touch the fruit, there was no force that came to draw their hands so they shouldn't touch the fruit. That is called the will. If you feel like God loves you so much that he can come out to make you go out of temptations, try to go buy a bottle of beer. Open it and say, Lord, if you don't want me to drink this thing, let a force come and just blow it away and put it on your mouth. You drink, you finish successively. You even get drunk. That is not the power of God. He gave you the will to decide what you want. Has it ever happened to you before you propose a girl and you just feel God? Maybe you're trying to text and your phone started vibrating and you failed to text. Where is God? He's there. But that is your responsibility. It is the will. That's what we call the human will. It's very powerful. Very powerful. If a human being wills that something happen, do you know that the will of God usually is overpowered by the will of man? This statement that you like saying, God willing, it is not of God. It's a deception. There's nothing like God willing. Do you remember there was a guy that went to Jesus, say, if you are willing, heal me. Jesus said, I'm willing. So Jesus is always willing for something good to happen. But it is up to you. Are you willing? Is your will effective? There are 2 types of wills. Actually, there are 3. But I'm going to talk about 2. In the book of Romans chapter 12. It talks about present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto the Lord. And it is talking about going down with it. It's talking about 2 types of wills. It's talking about the perfect will and the permissive will. These are 2 types of wills. Perfect will and permissive will. A perfect will is what God has ordained that it should happen. That is the perfect will. A permissive will is that will that you have convinced God that it should happen. It is still a will, but it wasn't what God wanted, but you had to convince him. For example, if we prophesy, you say, you are going to get married to this lady. That's the perfect will of God for your life. But you don't like that lady. Maybe because you like a certain lady, maybe because she's light, you wanted a dark lady. Or the other way around. So you say, but me, I want somebody that is yellow. I want a yellow bone. So what happens is that you work against the perfect will. You say, no, I don't want this girl. I want another one. So you can pray to say, I don't want this person. God will allow you to go marry someone else under the permissive will. You'll still be married. You can even have children, be blessed. But it's a permissive will. Doesn't mean it's a perfect will. No. Or if you bring a man, say, you two are supposed to get married. And say, Papa bless us. And I said, but you are not meant to be with each other. Then you say, Papa, I love this man. And the lady says that, no, we want to be together. And you convince me. And I can say, okay, I bless you. That doesn't mean it's a perfect will. It's a permissive will. It can still happen, but it's under permissive will. It's a will that we have permitted, that let it happen. You still get married, you enjoy, everything will flourish, but it's a permissive will. But it won't be as good as it would have been if you had obeyed the perfect will. So if you had to have something perfect, go for the perfect will. But if you want to be having some challenges once upon a time, permissive will. Do you know that God didn't want the children of Israel to have a king? He says, I don't want them to have a king. I am your king. But the will of people is that we need to have a king. We need to have a king. The will of God was that they shouldn't have a king. The will of the people, we need a king. Which one prevailed? The will of the people. God surrendered his will for mankind. He said, since the people want a king, I'll give them a king. Let me give them Saul. Who was Saul? The will of the people. It was the will of the people. It was given. So if you have got a will, even if God has another will, your will can prevail. Listen, what happens is this. Even when you are praying, sometimes your prayers are not answered. It is your will that is answered. It's not that you just bring a testimony out of ignorance, but sometimes it's your will that you need to testify to. It is your will sometimes. Your will. What happens with the will is this, Do you know people pray for things that they don't even want, but they want something else? Me, in my small walk with God, I've seen people coming on the altar, bringing each other, girl and boy. This is a man for me. But in her heart, she wants another man. But they still come to me that I should pray for them. And they'll leave it up like this. They'll leave it up like this. Lord, if it is your will, we'll be together. If it is not your will, things will fail. But they have got a will inside of them. And if their will doesn't want them to be together. So now, that prayer will be answered. Not necessarily that it's a prayer answered, but it's the will answered. Your will would detach you and you go to another guy. And you said, you see, we pray that if it's the will of God, things will fail. See, it's because you had another will. It is one of the things that engineer things. It's called the willpower. The willpower. You can be having an election and God has chosen one president, but you people have chosen another president. God will give you the president you have chosen more than who has chosen. It is called the willpower. And that's why what happened to Adam, God is not going to repeat it. Adam is there in the garden and God just brought a woman, made him, tailor-made, gave him a woman, Eve. Adam is waking up, say, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, she shall be called woman. After everything goes wrong, Adam, have you eaten the fruit? It is the woman you gave me. God is saying, did I make a mistake to give you a woman? I saw you were lonely, Adam. Adam is saying, but did I ask for a woman? I was lonely. I didn't even know that I was lonely. It is you that saw that it's no good for me to be alone. I thought I was good. You made me a woman. God says, okay, so from today, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Go and find for yourself. I've stopped giving you a woman. So that if anything goes wrong, you're not going to accuse me. It is you that found a woman. Go for her yourself. He gives you the will. You choose whom you want. So that if you mess up, you say, Father, this and this. I said, you chose by yourself. I gave you the will to choose. Fine, start searching. This kind of Adam whereby God, you are asleep and you just wake up and you find a woman by your side. It can never happen to you. That's why if you ask men of God, even these people that see visions, if they are praying, Lord, give me direction on a woman to marry, they don't see. Ask them. They don't see. Most of the time they don't see. It's rare. It's rare that God can open your eyes. It's rare. You find a lady, she's a prophetess. She doesn't know whom she's going to get married to. It is their willpower. If God opens your eyes and you see, choose what is good for you. That is the will. It makes things happen. It makes prayers appear answered. It changes things. Your will can change the whole arrangement. Very dangerous. I'll teach about the wills later. I'm just explaining now. Number 3 was what? Mental force, the mind. What you have proposed in your mind. Your mind is very powerful. It's dangerous. You can start imagining negative things against a person and they happen. The mind releases a certain energy. As you sit down and you are thinking, in the law of vibration, when you sit down and you are thinking, it is like you are seated in your house and you are thinking of something. Your brain, if you ask these guys that understand biochemistry and other things, it acts as if it's vibrating. That's why if you check the human anatomy and they're showing the brain and the person is thinking, it is as if it's breathing. Huh? You saw that thing? That is what we call the vibrational force, the law of vibration. So if you're thinking about something, let's say you're thinking about money a lot. You're thinking about money. I need money. I need money. Your mind is vibrating. Your mind is vibrating. And it is vibrating and releasing a certain energy that is magnificated in nature. That energy is manicious. So then, as you are busy thinking, your mind is releasing toxins and energies. Then money, the Bible says, money cries in the hands of the wicked. The Hebrew word translated cry is the word vibrate. It is the word shake. So money is shaking in the hands of the wicked. It is vibrating in the hands of the wicked. And you are there, your mind is vibrating for money. Money is vibrating there. Then in the air, there is what we call the waves. These are what we call the waves. There are waves, there are air waves, gamma rays, all these, sun, whatever. But these are the waves. That's where they tap communication waves. If they are calling, we are calling your friend. The waves are the ones that transport
what you want to say to that person. Okay? If you want the radio station, it is the airwaves that makes you have a radio station. So these are the waves. If you send money using Airtel money, money passes here. If this one is sending money to my account, it passes here using the waves. It passes here using the waves. So where you're seated, their money is passing in your eyes. You can't just see. It's there. And you can't even see it. It's there. You can decide to capture it and bring it in there now. What do you think happens when we pray for miracle money? When we are praying to receive miracle money, we hack the airwaves. We hack in the waves. We release a blockage in the waves. Because the waves move like this, zigzag. That is a vibrational sound. Vibrational force. So we are declaring miracle money. There are transactions that are being made in the air, they are passing. So we hack, we create a leakage. So that one money just drops and it appears in your pocket. Where did we get it? We hacked it from the waves. There were people busy transacting. I'm sending this Airtel money to this person. Then we hacked it. Bam! It entered into your phone. That is what we call miracle money. Oh, yes, Lord. These are what we call the waves. So they are happening in the waves, huh? They are happening in the waves. Money is passing in the waves. So money is vibrating in the hands of who? Are we together? Money is vibrating in the hands of who? And your brain is thinking of money. Your brain is vibrating for what? For money. So money vibrating in the hands of the wicked, your brain vibrating for money, they meet in the airwaves. They are releasing energy that attracts each other. So money in the hands of the wicked is vibrating. Your brain is vibrating for money. So money from the hands of the wicked leaves and it is following where it is vibrating to. And it comes direct to your mind. That's what happens where you were thinking about money and somebody just came and gave you money. It is the mental force. This is vibrational force. What you think the most happens to you. It happens to you. You fantasize something so much it happens to you. It's just unfortunate that you think about negative things a lot. That's what they happen to you. Do you want to know the mental power? You will not understand until you read Genesis chapter 11. Where men imagined to build the tower that will reach up to heaven. And they started building. Why were they building? Mental power is what engineered it. And when God saw it, he said, hey, guys, let's go down. God alone couldn't even come down. He says, let us go down. In other words, Holy Spirit, Jesus, follow me. Let's go together as a team. Elohim. Let's go and disturb these guys here. Because what they have imagined, they will do it if we don't stop them. What did they imagine? That we should build a tower that will reach up to heaven. Imagine, just think of it. Is that possible? God says it's possible. Why? Because they have thought of it. God understands the mental power. Says, let's go and stop them. Do you know why Lucifer is here down? Do you know why Lucifer fell? You thought Lucifer got a sword and started chasing an angel to kill maybe one. He was thinking. He said, I'll ascend before heaven. But the Bible says, for you said in your heart. In other words, Lucifer was imagining. As he was still imagining, God says he has already chimwad. Let's deal with him. Forget about that. Look at what Jesus is saying. If you look at a woman, lastly, you have already committed adultery. You haven't done anything. You haven't touched her. You haven't taken off your trousers. You have already committed adultery by looking at her and imagining. So imagine going to hell on the last day because you imagine the woman. So even as we are seated, we have a lot of adulterers and adulteresses. A lot here. Because they looked at a man and they lusted after him. They are already guilty. So in heaven, we are going to find a lady who is a virgin and she's charged for adultery. The mental force. The other one is what? Natural force. Natural force, that is what, like the rain. This is what we call rain. You know, rain is the natural force. You understand the law of, what do you call that? Evaporation, condensation. Where there has to be the heat, evaporation, rain goes up, condensation takes place there, then renation comes. You understand those things, right? The humid, what and what and what. That is the natural force. The sun, it is there, then you see the clouds. This time around, the weather is okay, but all of a sudden, you're covered up. Those are things that are natural. So these are things that sponsor things to happen. Are we following? Can I take it to another level now? A spiritual force is one of the most prominent and effective of these three. It is the most prominent and effective. Very effective. So those are the forces that engineer what? Things to happen. Now, those forces, when they have agreed and they are working, or either of those have operated, they produce three factors. The factor number one is what we call incidence. Number two, coincidence. Somebody say coincidence. So the first one is an incident. Two, coincident. Three, accident. Number 1 is what? Incident. Number 2, coincident. Number 3, do you know that grammar, English, they tell us to say an incident is just a new thing that has happened. That's an incident, huh? A new thing that has happened. Just like even in the medical field, they'll talk to you about the incident rate. Is it? There's what they call the incidence rate. Am I having people that understand what I'm talking about? The rate at which a new disease has just come up is called an incidence rate or something. So they say it's a new thing that has just happened. It's called an incident. But then, grammar does not explain to us there's what they call coincidence. Coincidence, they say it's something that just happened without a causal effect. Something that has just happened on its own. That's what they say. It's a coincidence. You didn't plan it. It has just happened. So they call it coincident. I'm going to change your theory a little bit. Coincident. Now, understand what I'm teaching about the law of happenings is what we call the causal effect. Everything has this. There has to be an effect somewhere. The law of causality. Something must cause it to happen. Let me give you my definitions. Incident. Something new that happened without a plan. That's an incident. Coincident. Coincident. Any word that starts with co, the word co is a word of unity. Coordination, cooperation, coordination, cooperatives, cooperation, collaboration, coalition government. Anywhere you find co something, it talks about two things coming together. Cohabiting. Because co means unity, two. And habiting means living. So I mean, two people living together illegally, they are cohabiting. They are habiting, but they... Okay. Are you understanding the word co, right? Am I right here with grammar? Those people that are educated, am I saying the truth here? But why then coincident is said to have no cause? Something that happened without a causal effect. It's not right. Coincident there. It is the same word, incident, but they put co. That means two things that have produced an incident. So coincident, two things have partnered to produce an incident. Two things have agreed somewhere to produce a thing. That's what we call a coincident. Two forces have met. They have sat down. They have agreed. They have arranged. They have reached into the T's and the C's, the terms and conditions. They have applied them. And they said, we are going to do this. So when it happens, it's called a coincident. I'm going to explain to you. That's a coincidence. Then that's what the third one is what we call an accident. Accident. An accident, they call it something like this. Here what I saw in the definition. They say, an unfortunate incident that happens unexpectedly and unintentionally, typically resulting in a damage or injury. So an accident is an incident that you don't expect that happens unintentionally. I don't know if you understand it. It's an unintentional incident. Something that has just happened, but it's an unfortunate, but you didn't arrange it, you didn't plan it, but it has just happened. Does an accident just happen? Does an incident just happen? Does a coincidence just happen? No, sir, they don't just happen. They are factors that produce and sponsor these three forces. And these three factors are sponsored by the four forces that I gave you. They are the ones that form an incident. They are the ones that form an accident or a coincidence. Which are those forces? The force of the will, the spiritual force, mental force, and natural force. They are the ones that cause these things. Okay. The way the rains have happened now, and we have got a lot of water falling up, and maybe let's say the waters have entered here and we are disturbed. Can we just say it has just happened like that? We know it's a natural force that has caused us to be interrupted. So nothing happens on its own. It is sponsored by something. So a mental force can create an incident. An incident has happened, but it was sponsored by a mental force or a spiritual force or whatever kind of a force can sponsor something to happen. Now I'm interested on a coincidence. A coincidence is like this, huh? This guy here is walking and he's thinking about me. He's walking, huh? He's thinking about me. He's just becoming as if you're walking. Then all of a sudden he meets me. What is he going to say? It was coincidental. I was just thinking about Papa and I met him. According to him, it's a coincidence. And according to you, not according to me. May I know what has caused this? Let me tell you. Go and take your seat. What happens is this. What we call a coincidence. There is a place, what we call, ever heard of what we call spiritual realms? When I'm prophesying and I tell you, say, I'm in the realms of the spirit. People think it's just a say that we say. Why is it that when we are prophesying you, we go in the realms of the spirit? So I'm here prophesying you. The spirit of the prophet leaves me. And it goes in the realms of the spirit. This is another world. It's like a passage where things are happening. Where there are accidents. Where there are incidents. where there are marriages, where there are relationships, where there are money. So I'm in the realms of the spirit and I'm checking what is happening there. When I'm checking there, I can see what is happening. Then immediately I check, I see something, I come back and I report. Say, when I was in the realms of the spirit, I saw this. Where incidents are happening, where coincidences are happening, where accidents are happening, it's in the realms of the spirit. Where you can teleport yourself and you go there. Habakkuk said something like this. He said, I'll set myself on a tower. The Jehovah's Witness, there's a book that they call the Watchtower. This is the realms of the spirit, the Watchtower. Where you go on the watch and you start watching. You're watching a tower there. So, for a coincidence to happen, there is a place where two forces meet. What is that place? That is what we call the realms of the spirit, the heavenly places. They met and they agreed there, but you didn't know. When they met, they discussed, they decided one thing, and they made it happen. And you thought it was a coincidence. How possible is that? This guy come again. This guy is here and he's walking. He's thinking about me. Do not forget the law of vibration, the vibrational force. He's thinking about me. So be thinking, just walking slow as you can. He's walking and he's thinking, and as he's thinking there, don't forget this guy has got a spirit as well. Any human being has a spirit. His spirit has registered me in his mind. His mind has registered me in his spirit. So his spirit has got access to go in the realms of the spirit. So he's thinking about me. His thought has entered his spirit. His spirit has reported in the realms of the spirit. And remember, the realms of the spirit, that's where I am as well. So he's thinking there, be thinking and walking. And he's thinking and walking, and I'm in the realms of the spirit. So if that guy is coming thinking, what has happened? His thought has registered to where? It has registered to his spirit. And his spirit has reported where? In the realms of the spirit. So I am here driving, and my spirit is in neutral, but it is walking in the realms of the spirit. And my spirit has hooked his thought via his spirit. And there we have agreed in the spirit. Maybe I was going to town, I was supposed to drive this side. But because of his spirit that is calling me, I make a corner. I start driving towards his direction. He's busy thinking I'm driving. And all of a sudden he meets me and he's excited. He says, imagine I was thinking about Papa and I met him, forgetting that we are to agree in the spirit. You reported you agreed in the realms of the spirit. You sent a certain energy to his mind. His mind sent it in his spirit. Things don't just happen. The reason why you say, I didn't know, it is because in the natural, it was not there. But it happened in the spirit. The moment you were thinking about this person, your mind registered where? And your spirit sent a signal where? And in the realms of the spirit, that's the only place where we can meet, you and I. That place we meet, we agree. Is that you are not active, like your spirit is not active, so that's why you don't know. But there, we meet, we agree. We meet and greet. We discuss matters there. That is where you tell me things of your life. That is a place where I get information from you. That is a place where I can look at you and I say, yesterday you went to this place. It is in the realms of the spirit. Your spirit was reporting. It's like your spirit is not even faithful to you. If it meets a higher spirit, it reports. If your spirit in the realms of the spirit, it meets another strong spirit, your spirit begins to report all the issues of your life. Your spirit will report. Your mouth will be shut, but your spirit will be reporting. You didn't mean to tell me, but your spirit has reported in their spirit realms. So I look at this, oh, okay. Who is John? I say, John Papa. Your spirit told me in the realms. In the realms, I was taught. This is a Bible school that I'm giving you. So that's what produces coincidence. Let me talk to you about an accident. It's another thing. Very deadly thing. The common accident that we know is maybe a car accident. I'm going to use this as an illustration. The common accident that we know is what? A car accident. Where maybe, let's say it's a head-on collision, or maybe it's accident between two cars, or a car bashing a human being. Bam, an accident has happened. And they say we didn't expect it. It was just a mistake. It has just happened. It wasn't a mistake. The reason why they are saying it was a mistake, because the driver didn't know that he was going to bash a human being. And the human being that was bashed didn't know that he was going to be bashed. So the bashed and the basher, they don't know. They don't know that this thing was going to happen. That's why they call it an accident. But people like us that know, we don't know. We know that that's not an accident. Because we knew it was going to happen. Either ways it was going to happen. So for us, it's not an accident. To you, it's an accident. This is what happens. If it is a spiritual force that is engineering your accident, they'll report your case in their coven or in the kingdoms. Say, we want this guy to be bashed. Or they'll just say, we want this guy to die. How are we going to kill him? Understand, there are guys that are called assassins. So an assassin is a guy that is trained to kill people. He's trained to kill people, so you have to hire him to go kill somebody. But what they do, some of you might have watched movies. That guy is an assassin. He's trained to kill. Well trained to kill. So these are two government figures, the people that fight a lot of politicians. Maybe this one is an attorney general. He's fighting maybe with another guy, the permanent secretary somewhere. They don't want him to get a deal. So this guy wants this one to be killed so that he can have a free way to his business. Maybe there's another one that is blocking him. Or maybe there's a judge. Maybe this person has got a case in court. And the judge is very straightforward. They have tried to bribe him. He can't be bribed. And he's the one that has got evidence. So they'll say, kill this person so that, or usually they kill a witness. They usually kill a witness so that there shouldn't be evidence. You understand? Huh? So they'll go there and hire an assassin and say, we want you to kill that person. And when they hire him, they say, but the problem is that he knows that I'm against him. So if he dies by bullet, they'll know that it's me that have killed him. And they'll say something like this, make it appear like an accident. That's what they usually say, make it appear like an accident. They know it's not an accident, but say it should appear like an accident. It should appear like an accident. So that after the death, people like you said, accident, but you don't understand that there were people that met somewhere, they sat down, they agreed, let's kill this person, but it should appear like. So many accidents that you are seeing, they're not accidents, they just appear like accidents. So this guy will be paid. And when he is paid, like a movie that I watched, there's a movie called The Mechanic. You might have watched that movie by Jason Statham. That guy was called Bishop. I wonder what kind of a bishop he was in that movie. He was hired to go and kill a person, and they said it should appear like an accident. So this person was a rich man, and his custom was going to swim at the swimming pool on top of a building, and you'll be swimming there. This guy was hired as an assassin. He went and created a weak strength, a loophole on the swimming pool. So this man went as he was swimming, and he put up an explosive and he exploded the thing. I think just a small thing, a hole, and he started sucking the water, and all of a sudden the swimming pool just collapsed. And he fell from top of the building and he died. It was reported all over the news that the man has died by an accident. It was an accident, his pool, swimming pool. There was maybe a weak structure somewhere. And there are these people that you call learned, they're educated. They're educated to be ignorant. They're educated to justify ignorant. They'll be there and you think like they're doing something serious. They'll come with big machines, and someone will come with the pliers, and they'll even get a small part of maybe concrete, and he looks at it, puts in a plastic and covers it. And they'll test one or two things. And after 1 week, they produce a report, say, according to our findings, there was structural failure. The structure failed because the water was a lot. So it was given a depression. And it had to... Sir, you are just justifying your ignorance. They happened somewhere. That's how people are killed. That's how people die. That's how people die. They're engineered, but they appear like accidents. How do they happen? This is it. You get someone, they report you to the witch doctor, we want to kill this person. So they will program you to die by an accident. So they put like a spiritual chip on you, a sensor on you. You are registered, marked for slaughter, you're going to die by an accident. So they have to arrange a day. That day should be Monday or Tuesday. You must die by 14. That day you'll be in your house. But you understand, an accident doesn't happen to one person. So they have to arrange another guy that should kill you. So they'll arrange him as a driver. They don't even agree with him, but they agree with his spirit. Because remember where we meet. So they agree with his spirit. You go and kill that person. You agree, but he doesn't know. You go and die there. You agree, but you don't know. So on this day, you just wake up and you are just walking from without. That guy didn't even have a program. He was just home relaxing. When you started walking out, you just think, okay, let me just go and see my friend John. He just gets into his car. He starts up a car. He didn't have a program. And he started driving. Both of you are arranged. You are being engineered. So you are coming, he's driving. Both of you are driving. Now, because of the law of happening, you'll be surprised that all of a sudden, wow, he has bashed you and the person has died. And if you're the one that is a basher, the one that was driving, the one that has bashed him, you'll be like, you know that kind of thoughts, huh? Or sometimes what will happen is like, I don't understand. Filling station fuel. It's okay, as long as a filling station, you know that kind of thoughts. This is what would have happened. When you are coming, you are driving. This guy is coming. And you have a thought to go to the filling station to go and put fuel. But the moment you go to the filling station, they will tell him to go in a shop as well. So he'll be in the filling station, fueling up, and he's also buying something in the shop that he didn't want to buy. You finish filling, you go on the road, he has finished buying, he's back on the road. You are moving. You cannot avoid it at all. By the time you're trying to take a corner, going to the right, even him, you take a corner to the same direction. You have to meet because you are being engineered. Have you ever watched these things that they make you watch, what they call robots? How they make you watch, whereby a robot is being engineered, sometimes like a video game, this and this. Or have you seen a video game, like some of you that play a game, you're swerving, this and this, you know that kind of a robot. You've seen some Transformer stuffs, and there's some young guy that is transformed, that is just engineering it, and it's working like this, it goes like this. You know those things. Do you know that what they are doing you there, what they are showing you there rather, what they are doing to you, is to make you think like it's technology and it's a game. But that is what happens in the spirit realms. That is the exact thing that happens in the spirit realms. Look at Paul in Ephesians chapter 6 verses 12. He's saying things like this. He says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. Against what? Second, against spiritual wickedness, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. So we are fighting with what? Principalities and powers. Spiritual wickedness and the rulers. Principalities, powers. Spiritual wickedness, rulers. The rulers are the people in authority in this world, but they are those that are appointed by devils. Those that are called the rulers of the wickedness of this world. And we have got whom we call spiritual wickedness. This is in the heavenly places where we meet spiritual ends. Principalities are principles that are carried out by a prince to disturb certain places and doctrines. Powers are the ones that control things. Powers are the guys that will have a remote control and they are engineering things. These are the ones that we call the powers. Your money is there, they just push you and you go towards your poverty. You are going straight to your money. These are powers, they have a remote control, they have got like a pad. They are pressing things and they're watching you on the screen there. Power you. And these are powers from your father's house, powers from your mother's house, powers from your village, powers from... These are different powers. They're the ones that are diverting you. Imagine you were going just nicely to get married to that guy. Power is and the brother just loses interest in you. What was that? It's a power. You were being controlled somewhere. They're the ones that control people even in churches. That's why most of the times you people, I pray for you. I pray for you day and night. I know how these things can affect people. A power starts controlling him to work against authority. Those are powers. Sometimes, because powers that are near you, they're close to you, they're the ones we call familiar spirits. They are the ones that know you well. They know your attitude. They know your grandfather used to drink beer. They know that your grandfather was a drunkard. So you are there as a man of God. They have tried to bring girls you have escaped. They go to check in your history. What killed his father? Because it's already in your blood. Then they found that your brother was a drunkard. Then they bring it up and trigger it. It's a chip. It's already in your blood. They trigger it. Ting! All of a sudden, a man of God just wants an alcohol-free wine. All of a sudden, he just wants to... He's not taking Holy Communion. He just goes to buy. Say, I don't want Coca-Cola today. I just want... Don't you have wine around? He's starting like that. He's starting like that. Today he's drinking wine. Drinking wine. Make sure it's alcohol-free. Should be 0.00% alcohol, huh? Don't know that you're starting small. That's why you're starting small. The next time there are these beers that have got a packaging that looks like alcohol. And if you don't control it, in this generation we have heard a lot. Haven't you heard of pastors drinking beer? We have seen things happening. How did they happen? Powers. He's the man of God. He can't do those things, but there's something that was triggered. And he didn't have spiritual authority. They led him into the club. So why did they bring out alcohol? It was there in your blood. Some of you, your your rebellion, your submission. The reason why you are too difficult to submit, they checked in your blood. They went some years back, they saw your grandfather. They checked his record, they saw him going in Catholic. You were supposed to go and confess before the catechist. And your grandfather rebelled against the catechist. You can't tell me anything. This and this. And they knew that in your blood there is rebelling against authority. The same thing that your grandfather was doing in Catholic, rebelling against the catechist, you are doing it in the church now. Have you realized that most of the times, like in this generation, if you find a person that has married 2 wives, he's not the first one that has started. It was maybe his great-grandfather somewhere. Do you know that no drunkard started with a bottle of beer? A drunkard, have you ever seen a drunkard that started with 5 bottles? They started with a sip, katot. No thief started by robbing the bank, carrying a gun. They start small, picking in the house. They start small. Before they go to pocket pick, no. They started small. They started small. And this is where the devil has tried to kill you. He has failed. How are we going to kill this guy? He has failed. Getting your record. He's going. Your father was okay. Go to your grandfather. Your grandfather was a great-grandfather. And they see that your great-grandfather was a thief. And they say, okay, if you use thieving, it will be easier to take him. So they start making you you're at home, you just find a talk time that is not scratched, you just use it, you scratch it, you put it in your phone without telling any person. You are starting already, just load it in your phone without telling them that it's you. And after you have already used it and they're expressing a disappointment, you have realized that you have done something wrong, but you'd have to cover it up, because if you come out now, it will appear not well. So you just be quiet there and you're just using the same airtime, but you're quiet. They have already taught you how to steal and keep a secret. Next time you're not going to steal a talk time. You're going to find money, you get it from your house, you will use it. Next time maybe you'll find it's relish. It's small like that. It's just relish. But because the first time you stole airtime, you covered it up. This time around, you thief a piece of relish. I don't know if this still happen nowadays, but those when we were growing up, used to happen. You thief a piece of meat. And they taught you how to cover it up. Next time, they'll find you red-handed. You are swallowing. Soup is dripping. The moment you see them coming, you swallow fast. What are you eating? Nothing. What about the soup? No, it's yellow saliva. It was just coming out on its own. This is not soup. So you are already training yourself, because you're stealing food. You start now stealing even chickens from people's houses. Now this time around, you're not going to steal a cooked chicken. You have advanced. You're going to steal a living chicken, a live chicken. You steal it, you eat. But that time you're in the village. You're doing it very smart, so they can't kill you. So that spirit now sees that, okay, you're doing it very well. You have been trained to steal, but you can't die at the village, because maybe your grandfather is a witch doctor. If a witch bewitches you, your grandfather will heal you. So what they will do is that they know they can't kill you in the village. Your uncle in the city would have to call you, say, there's a job that I found for you, come and be staying with me. So you'd have to move from the village, go in town. Where are you going in town? A place where there are guns, wherever you can die nicely. So you think it's a breakthrough, not knowing that they have engineered you to go to the city. The moment you reach in the city, your uncle says, okay, I want you to be slashing some grass outside there. And you go with a slasher, you're slashing outside. And outside there, you find some guys that usually sit to represent the hood. You know those guys, huh? In every neighborhood, there are guys that will put up a bench. They sit there representing the hood. They'll be there like 24/7. They're not doing anything. They're just representing the hood. You know those fellas, huh? So there are fellas that are representing the hood there. And you are slashing. And one guy will just talk to you, not knowing that those guys, they have got connections, how you can steal. And they'll talk to you nicely. This time around, you go to steal. You come back, you are excited, you have made money. But because you know this is lust, you are lasting for money. You never get satisfied. It is like drinking salty water. The more you drink, the more you get thirsty. So next time around, you go to steal. This time around, you want to rob the bank. You go nicely, you steal. As you'll be running away, then they'll trigger that button. Okay, he has reached at the same place we wanted him to be. They'll make you strategize, steal, but they'll go and report you to the police as well. That's why if you ask police people, this inspector is not here, you ask them to say, sometimes they'll tell you, say, a police person, there's what they call, they think like it's psychology or something, or discernment. A policeman can sit here, all of a sudden you carry a gun and you'll be told to go to ShopRite, and when you reach a ShopRite, you find there's a breaking there. No one reported the spirit from your father's house. It's going to report you to the police. So okay, this guy is at a place we wanted him to be. He has stolen now. So they have reported you to the C5, and these guys are coming, and those guys are licensed to kill. And they'll make sure that all your friends will be in the car. Your back has to be at the window side. You have to give them your back. And the man that has to kill you, they have to make sure that this is a guy that is a new recruit. He knows that if I kill, it's a promotion. So that guy will aim to kill. One time you are dead, and when you die, that spirit just leaves. But look at where it started from. It started with a simple airtime. It started with a simple relish. It went to this, until you are in the seat now, being positioned where you can die.
More Than Conquerors family, demonstrating God's power and revealing Jesus.